to Momentum in Real Estate, your guide to success in the dynamic world of real estate. I'm Cory Wolf.
And I'm Kristin James. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, we're here to help you reach new heights.
Success in real estate comes from learning, growing, and serving others.
Join us as we dive into strategies for lead generation, marketing, market trends, and client relationships.
Get ready to ignite your momentum and achieve your goals in real estate.
Let's dive in and unlock your full potential.
This is Momentum in Real Estate.
Well, welcome everyone to the Momentum in Real Estate podcast. I'm pleased to introduce you to Katherine Van Brocklin, a property management pro with a knack for leadership and a Disney-trained eye for excellence. After honing her skills at Walt Disney World, she spent 20 years leading small business banking teams, helping clients reach their financial goals. Now she's bringing that same dedication to property management, working with residential and commercial owners to find the perfect tenants and maximize their investments. With a sharp business sense and a passion for protecting what matters most, Katherine is on a mission to make property ownership smooth, stress-free, and successful. Welcome to the podcast, Katherine.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Kristin, I'm going to hire you as my PR team. Excellent. Thank you. Gosh, thank you.
You're most welcome.
That's awesome. Yes, do it. Okay, so tell us what your real estate story is in your own words. How'd you get here?
You know what? It's a great story. So we could be here for about 2 hours. So why don't we just kind of condense this down, right? I was always involved in real estate in Florida, where I was from originally, from Miami. And we had real estate, right? Investment properties, et cetera. I loved it. And my goal when I was growing up, and this is a true story, Cory, was to be a real estate agent. I wanted to be a realtor. I thought it was so cool. And it was great, right? You're putting someone who has a dream into a home. It's a great marriage. And I thought, wow, these people are making millions. And guess what? They're making dreams come true. Well, fast forward, right, to later, you realize being a realtor is hard work. I mean, it is a lot of work and it's rewarding. But the reality is, I said, you know what? It's really not for me. So then I started to think, all right, what do I really love about the industry? And what I really love in all seriousness is helping people find a home until they get to the next phase of their journey, right? Or sometimes there are people who want to be renters their whole life. They want to be footloose and fancy free. They don't want to own a home, but it's like a good marriage and similar to what you guys do, right? You find the right property for the right person and then everyone wins. So I quickly realized that while property management is also a 7-day-a-week operation, 24/7, I don't mind. I love it. I'm absolutely passionate about what I do. I just love it. So it was, I guess, my dream of being a realtor didn't come to fruition. It just didn't feel like a good fit. And I thought, this is your home.
Well, and you've certainly landed in what we like to call a real estate adjacent field.
Exactly.
And there's so many kind of spin-offs from, like the foundation of real estate. There's so many creative endeavors out there. And so it's fun to see you in your passion and in an area that really lights your fire. And I feel like our audience will get a lot from your energy. And I think we have a lot to learn too. I'll speak for myself in that I sort of have this idea of like what property management is, how it works, how it impacts homeowners and kind of the overall real estate industry. But I wonder if you could kind of kick us off by doing a little myth busting. I feel like there's a lot of myths that float out there about property management. So what are the top myths that you encounter and kind of correct? Give us the truth.
I will happily give you the truth. I think there's a couple that really stand out to me. And the number one myth is anybody can do it. I'm just going to go out. I'm going to buy a piece of real estate. I'm going to find myself a tenant. And why do you need a property manager? This is very easy. And you know what? For some people, they might have the same passion I do about it. And so it is a little easier for them. But there's some things that a property manager does that people don't really think about. One of the most critical things we do is ensure that we are in compliance and our owners are in compliance with laws, federal laws, right? Federal housing laws, state specific laws. You know, because you're both in the real estate industry, it's super critical, very critical that, everyone in real estate follows the fair housing laws. We don't want to be accused of disparate treatment, right? Everything from disclosures, et cetera. There are some hefty fines. There are a lot of things that owners can find themselves in hot water. The other piece of it is we want to make sure we're following the law, because if you have a bad tenant that, can happen once in a while, or life circumstances change and they just can't pay anymore, right? And you need to go to court and evict these people. If you're not following the law, it can cost thousands and thousands of dollars in lost rent and court costs. So that's probably the number one thing people don't think about. They feel like they can just hang out their shingle and put their property for sale and off they go. The other thing that people don't consider sometimes is, why do I need a property manager? There's not a lot of work that goes into it. Well, it's really a 7-day-a-week operation. You've got to be there for your tenants all the time. And you've got to protect the property all of the time. And we get a lot of clients that come to me that say, you know what? I thought I was creating passive income, but what I was actually creating wasn't passive at all. There's a lot of work involved. So it's really what goes into it. And it's the legalities that you've got to be so careful of, So, and the other myth, I think the third leg of that stool is, I don't want a property manager. It's too expensive. Nothing could be further from the truth, right? Property management fees vary, but they don't vary wildly. And so it's a very small percent of the monthly rental amount. And to place a tenant is not a significant amount of money. One of the neat things that we do is we don't have a one size fits all. So we can custom things to clients that maybe just want help finding a good screened tenant, right? And staying within the law. Somebody else says, I just want you to manage the maintenance. I can collect the money. And some people say, I want to travel. I want to enjoy my life, right? And spend time with my family. So I want you to do everything. So it's really no one size fits all for any one given client.
That is wonderful. Now, let's go into tips of selecting the right property management company. Mm-hmm. So, as realtors, if we go find the right property, and someone's like, I'm not managing this, I need someone. What are things that realtors need to look for to give a referral out?
I think one of the most critical pieces is responsiveness. Because if you call 5 property management companies, if you don't have a go-to company that you trust, right, to place with your tenants, you call 5 of them and 4 of them don't call you back, that's a big red flag. That says either they're not interested, they're disorganized, or they just don't care. Because bet your bottom dollar as a realtor, time is money, and it's important that your clients get a high touch service. If they don't even call you back, your client is going to have the same kind of problems. And, we're all known for our reputation, and especially realtors. You guys know everybody in the area for everything, and everyone looks to you as the expert in your entire community. So, you're known by your reputation, and you want someone who's responsive to you and to your clients.
Well, and it sounds like you have kind of built a pretty flexible model so that, like you said earlier, it's not a one size fits all. Mm-hmm. So you can tailor a package that's going to work for the property owner based on what their desire is in owning this piece of property. I want to switch gears a little bit for those listening or watching who are outside of the Western North Carolina area. We experienced the recent hurricane in the fall, and obviously a lot of impact to the real estate market on the whole. I'm wondering, from your perspective, as you sit in your seat, how have things changed in terms of property valuations when it comes to valuing rental properties? What are some of the changes you're seeing?
That's a great question. It still resonates with us what happened last year, and we are not recovered, for lack of a better word, right? We've made great strides to the area, and I'm so proud to be a member of this community. It really was sobering. But you're right, we've had to pivot. Initially, after the storm, we had 2 issues. We had people who were displaced because of the storm, significant number. And then we also had an influx of properties because we had folks that had short-term rentals that they all of a sudden, they had no revenue coming in. They needed to make something on these properties. And they also wanted to help the folks in the community. So we pivoted from taking some short-term rentals, turning them into midterm rentals, helping put the displaced with the short-term rental folks. Now, I did it because I love this community and it's my home. I don't typically manage short-term rentals. That's an entirely different business model. I do long-term, 6 months or greater, and small commercial properties. But, we all needed to pitch in. So that was the first thing we needed to pivot. So we spent a lot of time putting folks together who had a place and needed a place. Now, for the most part, displaced folks have somewhere to live. Whatever they worked out, they have a roof over their head. So now the question is, the rental rates are very different now. So to your question, we've had to take a look at perhaps not our traditional sources, the data that has the long-term rental market analysis, right? That data is skewed now. So we're spending a lot of time looking more what's on the sites for this area for Western North Carolina and how fast are these properties moving and at what price point. So we've had to have a lot closer eye on the current market as opposed to historical data. And then the third thing I'll say is we've got a lot of people that move into the Asheville area with the goal of, buying or building a home in 6 to 12 months. Well, those people often come between, say, December and February, knowing it'll take 6 to 9 months to build a home, et cetera. And a lot of those people have been sitting out on the sidelines right now because they want to make sure the infrastructure is back in place. So long answer to your question, but there's various pieces we've had to look at and kind of change the way we engage with our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing. Like, I think the companies that are pivoting like yourself are the ones that are going to really, really do well. Okay, so one of the things that I know you do that is something to look into that we forgot to mention for a property manager is someone that's not going to take your clients too. Like, if they're going to sell a house, if you go and you refer someone to a property management group, they're not also going to in turn try to sell the home when it's time. And I know, Katherine, you do that, which is really amazing. But with that, like, what are some benefits that realtors and property managers have to work together? Like, what's the benefit there?
A lot of benefits, but to your point, one of the things we're really careful of is we don't try and sell away from our realtor friends because we need to be partners, right? We're not in competition. I have a real estate license because I have to have a real estate license. In the state of North Carolina, you cannot, work in the property management industry unless you have a real estate license. As we talked about earlier, I realized 15 years ago, selling real estate, listing real estate, helping buyers, it's a great thing to do, but it's not for me. So I provide all of my real estate friends and partners in writing a guarantee that if this client ever wants to buy or sell any real estate, not just this property, that goes right back to them. End of story. But I think as a partnership, we are great partners for each other. I'm always talking to investors, right, who are looking to buy or sell additional properties in the area. I've got clients who are moving around, some in another area, some right here in town. And for a realtor, if you've got an investor coming in and, wants to buy 1 to 5 to 20 properties, and you want to have someone you can trust just to do the managing, knowing they're not going to try and pilfer your client away from you at any stage of the game. So it's really good. And the other thing is everybody looks to realtors. What's somebody good to cut my hair? I need a plumber. I need an HVAC. Everybody looks at realtors as the be all and end all, and their contact in the community. And the reason they do that is because realtors know everybody and anybody. So I can provide all kinds of other services. If any realtor needs it, we also have those in our toolbox and we share. So we really need to be partners. There's no competition here. None.
I love that, Katherine. And I know, the three of us haven't known each other all that long, but I love that we're in the same market. And I really do look forward to working together and, really building a partnership in our respective lanes and areas.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. You touched on this a little bit a few minutes ago, but I wonder if you have anything else to kind of expand on it in terms of this, like striking a balance between owners getting the best rental price possible and also that like there's this itch for affordable housing in our community, and it's real, and we all feel that, especially post storm. So I wonder, how do you approach? I know that you are data driven, and I can hear that, and I know that's true of you, but how do you strike that balance as you go about your work?
That's an excellent question. It hits home all the more now, right? I'm preaching to the choir, to the two of you, but it is tough. Asheville, like a lot of places in the country, suffers from an affordable housing crisis. And you've got some owners that think they should be here, right, in their price point, and really they should be here. And if they really want to participate in the community, maybe they should be lower still. So there is a very delicate balance, because our primary fiduciary responsibility is to our owners, correct, to mitigate risk and to make sure they get the best dollar for the property. That being said, I've started to partner with some local investors and some out-of-area investors who are looking at finding land and opportunities to build some like tiny home villages, right? And to build more affordable homes. There's a couple of folks I'm working with now that are looking around for some land. They want to build a combination of affordable homes, and I really mean affordable, not 5% of what's being developed, a section for tiny homes. And then there was another investor I'm working with who's looking to start a mobile home park. And we're talking about nice quality mobile homes at very affordable prices. So sometimes we have to look outside the box and work with other investors who really do want to give back, that love this community. So it's really critical. I mean, we all have ownership in trying to make Asheville affordable and remain affordable. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Well,
hard.
I love that too, Katherine, because I think you hit on this idea that there's sort of this general perception that like anyone who wants to invest or develop in this market is just like this, evil capitalist who just wants to, take advantage and make as much money. And sure, are there predators? Of course, everywhere. But I think, as you've said, like there are people with genuine interest in fueling the economy of our local market, and so it behooves all of us to develop those relationships, and at the same time kind of strike against that pervasive idea that like anyone who invests in real estate is an evil, just money hungry person.
It's true. It is true. That is one of the other myths out there, but that one's a tough one to dispel in the market, because people have this set in their mind, to your point, that, everybody that's a landlord is just vicious and it's all about just the money, and nothing could be further from the truth. My owners, I have to say, I don't know if I'm choosy or lucky or both, or my owners are the most kind, gracious people, and they want their tenants to have a good experience, and so it can work. It can work. It's working today, and we just need to build more of it. So people.
When I heard a quote recently at a conference that was like, you're either going to be a tenant or a landlord. Like soon enough, that's kind of where we're going to be. And also there's so like the credit card debt stat in the US is so terrible that like there's so many people that can't, even if they could maybe afford it, they don't have a high enough credit score, even like just that one little minute part in the puzzle, they can't afford to buy. So yeah, I'm really grateful for our landlords in this world, that's for sure. Katherine, I'm going to switch it up a little bit as we end here, but you, as a property manager, I feel like you have to be like the most organized person. You're dealing with sometimes like hundreds of homes, and like, what are some tools you use to keep yourself really organized that might help our realtor listeners?
Well, I'm very data driven, and I'm also a type A and very structured, because without structure, it collapses, right? So you need structure with flexibility. You need both. I use apps. There's an app for everything, and they're not expensive. It's true. You know this. Some of them are free. Some of them are relatively inexpensive, but I use apps all day long to organize everything from my calendar, right, all the way up through our clients, our owners, our tenants. There's a lot of moving parts in property management. We do inspections twice a year, once a year at lease signing, right, or at move-in, and then at the halfway mark, just to make sure everything is going well. And so there's so many things we do throughout the year, and the collection of rents, past due, all of that. So I use apps It's technology is a beautiful thing if you manage it and it doesn't manage you. So it really, really helps. It also helps that those of us that like to multitask develop our own systems. So it's a combination, personal systems and apps. Yep.
Well said. Well said. I want to make sure that we share how especially our local audience can connect with you. Can you give us like your, how to find you on Facebook and the name of your company and just any other ways that they can connect with you?
Absolutely. Either through our Facebook page, which is PMI Mountain and Main. That's my Facebook page. Our website is PMI Mountain and Main as well. And anyone can call my cell, which is interesting. We have a large number of owners, but owners like to be able to reach their owner of their property management company whenever they want them. So I give all of my owners my personal cell. I just ask that they don't call me after 10 o'clock at night unless it's an emergency. But my cell is 954-270-0487. That's 954-270-0487. PMI Mountain and Main.
That's awesome. And we'll for sure put that on our channels as we promote this conversation and this episode. Yeah, this has been really, really informative. And I don't know, I'm feeling really energized about working with you and partnering with you. And hopefully our listeners will too.
I really appreciate it. It was such a pleasure to spend time with you, Cory and Kristin. And, also I'd like to close on one thing. It's not all about getting business, right? A lot of times it's about being an educational source to people. I love to give back, volunteer everywhere that's near and dear to my heart. So if there's anyone listening who just has questions, that just wants to get some information of how do I get started? I want to manage my own properties. What can I do? What pitfalls should I avoid? I encourage anyone to reach out. There's never an obligation. And I love to see next generation of investment property owners. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Katherine. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Momentum in Real Estate. We hope you found valuable insights and strategies to propel your real estate journey forward.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates with you. Remember, success in real estate is about continuous learning, growth, and serving others. Keep that momentum going and watch your business thrive.
Until next time, keep pushing forward and bringing your real estate dreams to life.
This is Cory Wall
and Kristin James signing off from Momentum in Real Estate.